Are you trying to learn a raid or dungeon encounter for the first time, or are you a Sherpa trying to teach this to a new person? If you are, this is the perfect video for you. Hi, I'm Part-Time Guardian, and I have Sherpa'd people through raids and dungeons hundreds of times, and one of the things that's frustrating as you're trying to do that as a Sherpa or as a new player is that many of the guides are either too short, too long, or they're made initially when the raid comes out, and some of the information is out of date. What I'm trying to do is make a guide that goes right into the Goldilocks zone. To begin with, I'm going to go over the core mechanics for this dungeon or raid. And what I'm going to mean that is I'm going to go over the mechanics that you're going to use repeatedly through the different encounters so you have context as we talk about how each encounter works. If you're a Sherpa or new player, this is the first place you should start. Next, we'll go over encounter by encounter with just the minimal information you need. I'm not going to go over DPS, I'm not going to go over loadouts, I'm not going to go over builds. I'm going to tell you exactly what each encounter will look like with timestamps and get you all the way to the boss so you can complete this raid or dungeon. For this first encounter, you will use a lot of the same mechanics that we use later in the dungeon. You'll notice that there is a door that prevents you going from the to the next area. That door will not open until you cleanse 2 plates, a light one and a dark one that are at the end of the room. To do this, you have to kill Taken Knights to drop motes, similar to what you get in Gambit, based on whether your character is in a light area or a darkness area. This can be hard to see. So one thing you can do is if you pay attention in your lower left-hand corner, you'll notice like a little glow. It'll either be white or black. That'll tell you whether you're in darkness, and you have to kill the enemy. It doesn't matter where the enemy is. It matters where you are. So the enemy could be in dark. If you're in light and you shoot him and kill him and he's in light, you're going to get light motes. That's one thing to keep in mind. You need 5 motes to cleanse a plate, and each knight drops 3. If you pick up 3 dark first, for instance, and then actually pick up light, it will wipe out the dark motes and basically give you the same count of light motes that you picked up. So again, that's one thing you have to be careful about, where you kill things and what you're picking up. Also, the motes are on a timer, just like in Gambit, and when you pick them up, there's a timer on you as well before they'll expire. So you can't wait forever to get all 5 to cleanse. To cleanse, go to the plate in question, and for most people, depending on your setup on your controller or your keyboard, you're going to hit the grenade button to cleanse. Once you finish cleansing these 2 plates, the door will open and you'll be presented with another area that's exactly the same. Rinse and repeat, do the same type of mechanics, finish up those 2 plates, and then you'll move through the door and you'll notice that the Kell Echo, who's the boss for the whole dungeon, will start going down the hallway and you'll chase him up a bunch of different jumping areas to the next encounter. This next encounter is a Phalanx Echo. It's a big boss with a immunity shield that you have to take off. So to do that, you have to cleanse 4 plates that are on pillars. There are 2 dark and 2 light. Once you clear those plates, the shield will drop off the boss. At that point, start doing damage to him. One thing to keep in mind, there'll still be a ton of ads, you have to watch out for those. There also are the little scions, and they will actually re-shield the boss, so make sure that they don't get in the way and do that. So you may have to kill some of those, but keep doing DPS to the boss, and then you'll either clear them out this first time, or you'll have to go another phase. If you know the other phase, just do the same mechanics, rinse and repeat. Next is the Wastelands. This area is an open space where you can sparrow between zones. To understand the arena, check out this map that shows the locations. I didn't make this, but skulls are potential places for blights, and you can see where you spawn in and where you exit. You'll notice a glowing orb that's Toland, which will give you some messages and stuff like that. He will just show up generally and tell you where to go. He will tell you the next area by the direction in which he zooms away when you take out a blight. So you take out a blight, he'll go left, right, or wherever. If you generally follow the direction, you'll see the next area that you need to do. Each area has a few blights to take out as well as some snipers. The snipers can be a pain, so sniper protection is ideal here. And if you can take them out, feel free to do those to be as safe as possible. You don't have to, but they can be kind of annoying. Remember, for blights, you can stand on top of the blight and avoid damage and take the blight down. So you don't have to be underneath, and you can also avoid the ads that way. Finish the blights in one area and watch Toland tell you where to go next. Once you do this 3 times, a door will open to the next room. There are 2 places where the door can be, but you will be able to tell which because Toland will show you the way to go. If you go to one of the towers and it isn't open, then it's going to be the other one on the side of the map. Again, they're kind of opposite of each other. The cube or hexahedron. For this encounter, and this one's really a trippy encounter, you will see 4 platforms that are either dark or light in an area that's lit up above them. You will also see Tolan in one of those areas that's lit up. Again, up higher. Whichever one he's above, you need to cleanse that platform with the corresponding dark or light color that's on that platform. If you don't see Tolan for some reason, because sometimes he won't show up on any of the 4, then at that point you can do any platform. It doesn't matter which. And again, you don't only need to do 1. Collect your motes and cleanse. Once you do that, go to the center area of the room. That'll be lit up, and then the room will rotate. What actually is happening is you're rotating among the different walls of the room. It looks like you're actually warping to another room, but that's just a visual effect that Bungie put in. When you get to the final area, kill the 2 final bosses, and then you're done with this encounter. So the next area is called Singularity, or we affectionately call it Rainbow Road. And if you played Mario Kart in the past, you'll know what we mean. Next, you go back to the Wasteland area and go to the other door opposite of how you got in the cube. The boss will actually end up being there, so you know at the right place because the boss will be sitting outside of it. Once you're in there, you'll see we're talking about this beautiful, gorgeous, like purplish area that, again, a lot of people call the Rainbow Road encounter because it's got ribbons. It looks like Rainbow Road. If you're not careful, you will fall off your sparrow. For this one, you can sparrow and walk continuously down the ribbon roads to these open pyramids. There'll be a number of enemies along the way, including some snipers. You have to decide if you want to deal with them or not deal with them. One tip I would give you is as you're sparrowing, you can generally hear when they're shooting or getting ready to shoot. So that's when you can decide to speed up or slow down your sparrow so they can't shoot you. And you can also decide just to walk the entire thing if you're trying to be conservative. Do that. Continue to go through. There is a hidden chest in one of the last pyramids before you exit. And then when you get to the bottom, again, just keep going down. As you get to the bottom, there's an area that will kind of suck you up and take you to the final boss area. So look for that. It looks like kind of rotating concentric squares, but you'll know it when you see it. The next area is where we get to the boss. The boss is a Kell Echo. Again, when you get into there, there'll be some thrall that you need to kill, and a hallway that'll get you to the actual boss room. At the boss room, there's going to be a rally flag, and you'll notice that the room has several roof wall areas that you will rotate to, similar to the cube. So if you look and you see the roof in this area looks like this, or this wall looks like that, at some point, depending on how many DPS phases, you will end up on that wall, because that's what happens between DPS phases. Start the encounter, you will kill adds and knights for motes again. Again, this room can get overwhelming with the thrall spawning, so I would try to get them under control as quickly as possible. Again, the build I mentioned makes it pretty easy to do that, again, without wasting ammo. You will notice that 3 areas that are lit around each corner of the room. And you'll notice that's a version of the boss sitting in each of those areas. And that can make it more difficult to stay in those areas. What I would do really quickly, gather your motes, pick one of the areas, whether it's light or dark, get the motes that you need, and clear that area as quickly as possible by going and cleansing. Once you cleanse, an ogre will show up. You can use your cover to kind of protect you, but what I would do is I would just as quickly as possible take that guy down, right? You can even, I was using a fusion rifle and I took him out in 3 shots. Again, even though he's an ogre, he's not terribly chunky. You just don't want to get him going. You don't want him to start blasting you with his eye attack, right? You just want to, as quickly as possible, get him down. The great thing once you do that is the area that he spawned at then does not have that version of the boss. So you can use that as a staging area to protect yourself if you run into problems for some reason. At that point, keep cleansing and killing ogres. On the last cleanse, you can ignore the final ogre and head to the middle area, again, similar to what happened to the cube, and that will take you to the boss arena. The boss arena is like nothing you've ever seen. You'll see the boss on a platform. You'll see a series of platforms going back to a big platform at the very back of the room. He'll shoot a wave of darkness at you. Avoid this as it'll warp you back to the beginning of the room, which isn't a big deal now. It will be later. One reason to avoid this, besides the fact that it takes you further away from the boss and doing DPS, is that the further away from the boss, you get a darkness debuff that's put on you. If that debuff gets to 10, you die. Also, as it increases, you do less damage. So that's one reason to be very careful, because if you get into that wave and you get stuck back to the beginning and he's at the very end of the map, there's a chance that you could try to keep going forward and just die just from trying to reach him. So that's one thing. Just be very careful and use cover to help yourself then. At the beginning, I would use a burst DPS super, or in this case, my Gathering Storm, to stick on him so you know that you have guaranteed damage. And then I would move to a platform. You can use Wither Horde or Anarchy to do tick damage. So again, it's all about doing damage over time while you're still moving around, because your goal here really is to survive and do whatever damage you can do. Snipers will begin to spawn on the plates near the boss, and he'll continue to teleport to the back of the room. It's very important to control the snipers as much as possible. You don't necessarily have to kill them all, but just keep in mind they will shoot at you, so use cover or kill them. It's your choice. You want to continue to do chip damage, and then where you can, do your damage on the boss. Use your other weapons. One thing to keep in mind is obviously you have to stay close to the boss so you don't get that debuff. The other thing you need to keep in mind is that if he uses that wave attack on you, you're going to go all the way back. You can hide from that wave attack by using the little pillars that are on each of the portals or each of the platforms to kind of protect yourself from that. Keep that in mind. The platforms are your friends. That's the video. If you like it, feel free to like it, subscribe my channel, and jump my Discord, and I'll see you Guardians in the tower.